Hey folks, thanks for joining me today. It's Florida Deer. I'm sorry I have not been making any videos recently. I'm sure that a lot of you are just terribly upset about that, but I was taking my real estate broker course and that was 72 hours, so it was kind of time consuming plus the test and all that stuff. But I got through it, passed it, and now I have a little bit more time to get back on track with making some videos every now and then. So the 4 factors that you might consider in parting out a garden tractor are these 4 main points. Number 1, purpose. What do you hope to accomplish, okay, with parting it out? 2, what kind of condition is the tractor in? Okay, obviously that's going to be important if it's, good condition, bad condition, whatever. Number 3, is there a market for the parts that you're going to generate out of the parting out of this particular tractor that you selected? And then 4, sales fees, marketing, or shipping that might be involved with parting out a tractor. Those are obviously huge considerations. So we'll jump into these, we'll jump into the details of each of these factors right now. Okay, so factor 1 was purpose. What do you hope to accomplish? So being that I've taken this real estate broker course, I'm in, sort of test mode. So that's a question. Then I have A, B, C, or D. They're not all arranged that way. Just this one was arranged that way. And so A would be, do you enjoy taking stuff apart? Obviously, if you don't enjoy taking stuff apart, parting out a tractor might not be your thing unless these next couple answers weigh heavily on you as well. And that would be B, do you need certain parts out of the tractor? Like, did you get this tractor and you're like, well, I need a couple parts out of it, and it's, it can often be cheaper to buy a whole tractor that's not running or something that's in bad shape, but the parts that are on it that you need are still in good shape and or working, okay? And then C would be, do you need the money to cover your addiction or hobby that you're doing, with tractors or anything else? And then D would be an all of the above. Maybe it's a combination of 2 or more of these other points that we're covering. For me, it's kind of it's a D, all of the above. I enjoy taking stuff apart, and occasionally I enjoy putting it back together, but I do need certain parts that I get out of certain selections I have. I'll do a follow-up video on a 420 that me and a buddy of mine acquired and subsequently parted out, and I'll go over the reasons why we did that in that video. But we got certain parts out of it, and there's obviously we made some money out of the sale or the purchase of that tractor too. So made pretty substantial amount of money, and again, I'll go over that in that video. All right, point 2, what condition is the tractor in? I would say if the tractor is in too good a shape, it's kind of a shame to part it out because it's a tractor that's in good shape. However, sometimes tractors can be, even if it's in good shape, it could still be more valuable in parts than it is in its entirety. But then of course you have to back out the cost of shipping, market fees, those kind of things, which we'll cover in a couple minutes here. Of course, if the tractor is in too bad a shape, you might not be able to get too many parts off of it. So that's another consideration you're going to have to make is, what kind of shape is this tractor in? You might say, why did you acquire it to begin with if it was in bad shape? So I imagine the idea would be to not acquire a tractor that's in terrible shape. And then some parts will need to be tested and some parts won't need to be tested. Sometimes you can bank on the previous owner's knowledge. Sometimes it might not be a good idea to do that. Obviously this topic will probably open up some discussion on what should be done before you market parts, and claim that they're in, whatever said condition. Obviously, certain things like, panels or wheels, steering wheel, a couple other items like that are pretty static. You're not really going to have you don't really need to test those. I mean, a panel is a panel. The items you might need to test would obviously be an engine or a transmission, or have pretty good knowledge from the previous owner on how well they worked. Maybe a PTO clutch, maybe some electrical parts. Again, you could, depending on the history of the tractor, you could bank on, knowing what you know from the previous owner, and you could kind of rate the condition of the tractor and try to make that guess. Because if you're putting stuff up for sale, you want to make sure that they're good working parts. You don't want to be selling junk parts. I mean, that's not going to do good for your eBay rating or anything like that. So that's number 2. So we'll get into number 3, which is there a market for the parts that are coming off this tractor that you're about to part out? Okay, is the profit margin there to make this a realistic financial or economic endeavor? Okay, certainly there are many tractors that are basically worthless unless they're the whole tractor. Those would probably be like cheaper tractors, or tractors that don't last that long. I mean, the idea that you're going to be selling parts years and years after these tractors have been out is probably going to be not a real good prospect if people didn't keep them, or the quality was poor to begin with. So, and there are certainly tractor situations, like we just talked about, that are the tractor, even in good condition, may be worth more in parts than it is as a whole. So I would say John Deere garden tractors are part of that group. You could probably part out a completely well-running John Deere garden tractor for more than the tractor is actually worth in a lot of cases, if not all the cases. So why would you part it out, or why would you not part out every tractor you came upon? It's because the margin would be pretty small. It takes a lot of effort, and then again, the shipping and the sales fees might eat into your profits substantially. So, and that just depends. These old garden tractors from John Deere, which is the only ones I really have any experience with, they're really, there's quite a few parts on them. PTOs, PTO clutches, obviously the engines, the transmission parts, many of the hydraulic parts can command quite a bit of money, and side panels, fender pans, they command a little less. Fender pans are harder to ship, so that's a consideration as well. Okay, so point number 4 is sales fees, or marketing and shipping. So there's a couple ways you can market the tractor. You can obviously market the parts on Facebook Marketplace. eBay is probably the most popular place to do it. I've probably sold most of my stuff on eBay. And then word of mouth, or having some type of word of mouth, maybe electronic, Facebook type network that you might have. So I'll go back to the marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is good because it's free, but you only have your basically local area that you're dealing with. So your market for people buying parts is going to be substantially smaller, especially if you live in Florida. It seems like a lot of this garden tractor stuff happens up in the Northeast and the Midwest and a couple other areas, but it's not really strong in the South. eBay is great, but the fees can be higher, and they do charge you for the shipping fees too. So they charge you a certain percentage, and if shipping fees cover that, they also charge the percentage into the shipping fees as well. So you're sort of double paying for that part of the marketing. However, eBay has a very large market that really is where most of my stuff sells, and so it works out pretty good in that sense, but it does cost some money. And then the word of mouth is something that you can maybe build over time. I've been working on that. I have a couple people that I contact ahead of time before I might put something on Marketplace or eBay. So there's that. And then shipping costs, obviously local pickup is the best. If you're using, or you can use that with eBay as well, but if you're using a Marketplace, that is something that can help you save a lot of money. You're saving money not only in the marketing fees, but the shipping fees as well. However, most of your stuff will not be local pickup, so you'll have to consider USPS flat rate boxes are the best for smaller items, especially if the smaller items are heavy. So normally those boxes that the USPS does allows you, I think the large box is up to 70 pounds. So you could even ship a wheel weight, in one of those, and it would work. It would ship because, they're only like 50 pounds. It'd be a very heavy small box. But the second thing would be, UPS, FedEx, or sometimes you'll have something that's, more than 70 or more than 100 pounds. So you might try a bus freighter, which is like a Greyhound thing. And there's a couple other options. Fastenal is another one. I shipped a tiller once to Wisconsin with Fastenal, and I think I've picked up something. I think I picked up a deck from somebody that they shipped it through Fastenal. So you just have to check into these options that you have. So smaller items will generally go through regular mail. When you get up to the larger, more heavy items, then you're looking at some place like Fastenal or Bus Freight or something like that. So, and those two things are the biggest thing that you really have to consider. I mean, other than the market value of the product, is you really have to consider how much you're going to have to pay to eBay, and also how much is it going to cost to ship stuff. So you have to have a general understanding of what these things cost. Sometimes the calculators on the internet will lie to you, so you just got to be careful. Probably going through this in experience is probably the best teacher. I've shipped one or two things where I actually paid more in shipping than I sold the thing for, so I made those adjustments. And I know that sounds dumb, but it is what it is. So you just have to be careful of that. And so there's a lot of things to consider. Anyway, so those are just a number of considerations. Maybe some of you will have different comments on your experiences parting out tractors. Maybe I've left something out. If I did, please input a comment there about something else to consider. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. That'd be awesome. And if you found this video interesting enough to maybe check out some of my other videos, you can hit the subscribe button up in the left hand corner here, and I will post that video as one of the ones that are coming up here in your screen right now. And anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.